Hello, my lovely Mothstorm. It's me, Scanty Moth, back with yet another video here on my YouTube channel. And what I would like to do in this episode is explain to you guys a little bit about the Scarabade. Can we put it up on screen right there? Yes, thank you. So here we have a Scarabade. It's a creature with a weird tail with like little bones sticking out of it and teeth for like a mouth, a little like fangs at the side, and they typically look something like this. I mean, currently we're just seeing a naked Scarabade, but these Scarabades, they come in a bunch of different colors. Look at these right here. We got a yellow, a green, orange, a dark orange, red, pink, purple, blue, and light bluish shark tone, I could say. Yes, all these, they all have different types, which we'll go over in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at their skeletal structure. So if we can first just split the Scarabade straight in half like so. As you can see by the x-ray basically, it doesn't have one layer of bones, it has two layers of bones. I mean, it has a bone layer, but it also has an exoskeleton, which basically means it has extra protective stuff to protect its organs and stuff. And the reason why we could split it in half where we see the left side is so we can also see the tail and how that works. You can see the insect body is very sturdy, with the blue area just making it extra strong, and then the bone sticking out to the teeth and the tail for that extra protectiveness of themselves. So it's overall a very genetically strong species in general with how it's laid out. And let's get a full exoskeleton in here now. Now when we come to talk about this insect, it's one of the more stronger insects of its kind. It's kind of based on a a beetle, but also a centipede, a mixture of those two combined into one specific species. Anyways, you guys can get to look at it a little bit more before I go to some of the different variations of Scarabades that exist with different colors. So take your time, just enjoy this a little bit. And now we shall be heading over to the color section. Now these colors aren't just colors for no particular reason, they actually all fall into three different categories, which are these three. And if you might be confused to why it's specifically these three and these colors in these categories, well, let me tell you. All three of these are based on different climates. So the red one, they live in hot areas, all them in the red box in the hot areas. The green ones in the temperate areas, and the blue ones of course in the cold areas. It makes sense. But let me tell you a bit more about them in each of their own categories. So let's start off with the hot category, or the warm category, the warm area category. Yes. Blah 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 blah. So these warm toned ones live in more warmer regions of areas and not as much as colder regions. They can live there though, but they mainly live in warm regions, and that's kind of their culture and stuff. They're also more tolerant to spices, of course. I mean, it makes sense, kind of like humans will be. They're also typically more used to sweat. They don't sweat as much because how used they are to it, and plus they're a little bit stronger than the other types of Scarabades. However, they don't like to wear much clothes. I mean, they usually live in warm regions, but when they don't, it can get a little bit weird. They don't like to wear clothes as much, not as much often. But anyways, let's talk about the temperate Scarabades now. And the temperate Scarabades, they're of course these greenish, more tones. They usually try and blend in with their surroundings, like the warm toned ones. Most of the Scarabades, they like to blend in with the region of area mostly. Anyways, these ones, they definitely like to, you know, go a bit around more forest areas. But they're typically more the type to be farmers and such, and they also have a bit more population than the other two regions. They're a little bit overpopulated, you could say, compared to the other two. Else, they don't have much other stuff going for it, but they definitely do love to farm more than the other species of Scarabades. There's not much to say about these, because these are basically like, you know, the basic ones, the most boring ones, you can say. Anyways, let's head over to the cold region Scarabades, I believe. Yes. First of all, it should come to no surprise that the cold region ones are more used to the cold weather, but they also like to put a bit too much clothes on, so when they visit other regions that are a bit more warmer than that, they typically forget to take a bit of their clothes off, so they're not as warm. So yeah, but else these guys, they really like to fish a bunch. That's some of the most they like to even dive in water and just like go down deep and fish just for no reason. I mean, it is delicious fish they get. But anyways, some other things they also have is like, for some reason they have the most intelligent brain. I don't know why, and they also sleep the most. I mean, it makes sense, they're up in the colder region where it's usually a bit dark and stuff. Anyways, we're getting a bit sidetracked. Are we though? No, we're not getting sidetracked at all. I'm sorry, I'm being silly again now. Anyways, but yeah, let's go over some main parts of all the Scarabades comparing, like what all the Scarabades are usually known for. So let's do that right now. So compared to other species in my lore, how well do they stand on specific things compared to other species will? Well, they are very good at recycling stuff. They love to keep on to stuff. They love to hold on to stuff. With the brains, their intelligence, they could become great doctors. They also are a bit smart in the way of like how to cure a wound, basically, just like bind in scarf or something, you know, those type of stuff. You can tell I'm not very good at that. They're good with pollen. Not as much as bees are, but they are good with pollen. They do have a bad habit with eating plants and stuff, so it's also not good with pollen either. That's kinda, yeah. They're statistically stronger than the average species, like humans and bees and stuff, but else they're not the strongest at all. That goes to probably some different species, which we'll cover at another point. They're also good at pest control. With all these small species, they like to get rid of them easier. They are good at that, but they can also get their tail stuck in things, which is not as good. And another thing with the pest control is the fact that themselves are kind of like pests. They appear everywhere. It's a very overpopulated species, maybe too many, some people say. I'll not say so. But anyways, we are nearing the end of the video, so let's just like head to the outro section maybe. And so there we have it, the end of the video where we learn about quite a bit about Scarabades, and I don't know what much else about to say about the Scarabade, but in the comments, not the description, you can go over to my Discord server to join my community. In there I will probably have a new section about Scarabades, and if you want to use it as maybe like a D&D sheet, a D&D character as a species in D&D, if you want to do that, I can do that in there. But else, yeah, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you all in my next episode of video, I should say. I keep saying episode, I keep forgetting to subscribe. Anyways, yeah, see you all in the next video. Bye!